South Park is literally because they don't give a shit what you think. When you can have Jennifer Lopez as a hand puppet singing about tacos and have me laughing hysterically.
Schmucks Club. I am Morbid.
I'm Newbooger.
That's Boogie right there. We are going to bring you through some fun topics today. We're going to cover what happened in the last week or so. We've been through a little bit as a country, but not too bad. We're going to try to come back and touch base on some completely different topics than what we've talked on so far. And what's new with your week, Boog?
Craziness. Being an IT professional sucks. Our country is still ripping each other apart, but we seem to have found some improvements with the country. Though I'll let you say what you're gonna say before I start bringing it in. But yeah.
Absolutely. As mentioned in a previous podcast, he had seen the Dave Chappelle special, which I have now been able to watch and review myself. And because you brought it up, I'll go ahead and give my quick synopsis first before we get too deep into it of what I thought about it. I did enjoy it. I've always enjoyed Chappelle's humor from his shows to his stand-up and things like that. I think he nailed it. I think he nailed all the humor. I like that he kept pushing things, and every time he kept acknowledging he's going to get in trouble was awesome. Because I think, again, we've talked about things that people need to be said, things that just need to come out. And you know what? It's funny that he went into this hoping that he's like, this is my last special for a while, because he's just assuming that people are going to get mad and not going to want him around. But we'll see what happens on it. And then there's a little piece at the end about bringing in your a different platform into comedy that I didn't quite enjoy the most, but I can see his place from it. What do you think, Boog?
So, like I mentioned before, when I saw it, I thought it reminded me of the old Dave Chappelle. Now I saw his other specials like Sticks and Stones, and
yeah, that was the one right before that where he got nothing. Was that his apology one, or was that the one that he did after the apology one?
I can't remember.
There was one right at the beginning of it. He apologized for something.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Never mind. That was Aziz Ansari.
Oh,
kidding.
okay.
No, Sticks and Stones. Yeah, he was wearing a jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was wearing that jumpsuit that I can't pull off because I just look like a sad clown.
But I don't know. I mean, it's been a while since. I mean, I guess it hasn't been that long since Sticks and Stones, but it just brought me back to the old style comedy, which I really appreciated.
You mean like taking rips at anything, right?
No holds bar. No, I'll rip into you, and I'll rip into you, and I rip into you. Though the ending was quite long, and I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit before, where he brought in kind of his opinion on things, and what I was mentioning, I guess we'll just kind of get into it.
Roll right into it, because that's the most important part of it for us.
As far as Dave Chappelle has done that forever. As far as what I've seen, he for the longest time, as far as like BLM, and
I think we could call it like respectfully minor activism.
Yeah, and we all know. The one thing that bothers me is how Dave Chappelle is getting attacked right now, because Dave Chappelle is one of the biggest. He is a very left-leaning individual. All right. Which is kind of strange because I enjoy his comedy, but he is definitely a left-leaning individual. And he's getting attacked the way that he did. And especially in the special, when he did touch base on his, spoiler, transgender friend, I mean, his message that he was trying to portray was we should all love each other, or I don't want to say love each other, but we should all respect each other. Right? It doesn't matter who you are. We should all respect each other. And
like, that person is my friend. It's not that person is my transgender friend.
Right. Yeah. I mean, especially with him, that's what he was saying. He was saying this is my friend. And him getting attacked the way that he's getting attacked, and it's like, really, he didn't say anything that bad. Yes, he ripped into him. He rips into white people all the time. He rips in the black people and Latino people. He's done this for years. I mean, this is what he does. This is not different from Dave Chappelle. And
though I don't feel as though that this is as much. I don't think this has as much of an impact, because I think that I think what we're starting to see around the country, people are starting to really not stand up a little bit, but just do that kind of, wait a minute. Yeah, hold on a second. Mm-hmm. They're starting to do the micro questioning where somebody's like, Dave Chappelle's a racist and he doesn't like women, and you're like, how can you make such broad people are starting to wake up to the fact that the media is just they're taking whatever the truth is and they're throwing it into a blender with whatever else is there, and they leave the lid off. And when you turn the blender on, whatever comes out the top is what they're spewing. Oh, they don't
even put the truth in there. Let's just be honest.
You're right. Right, it's the pinch, it's the salt. After they put everything in, it's the little pinch. And a little pinch of truth and just blast everything to the ceiling and read the ceiling like they're tea leaves. Yeah. I mean, this is kind of what they're doing. But yeah, I finally think people are starting to understand. They're going, let me look for myself a little bit. And then they'll watch a special and they'll be like, that was funny as shit. Like, what's your problem? You know, and that's, I think all the people attacking it are the people that actually haven't heard it. It started with a silent few. Oh yeah. Or a loud few, I should say. And now they're just saying, did you hear what he said? He was so racist. And they're like, I'm not watching that. He's racist. Well, you're not watching it. Mm-hmm. You're not gaining your own opinion of it. You're basically spouting somebody else's opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, we touched on that before, that, I really didn't want to talk about this unless you had actually seen it, because I didn't want you to have to talk about something you didn't know. Right. And I mean, I can guarantee you probably about 80% of these people, and I'm being generous here, have not seen it. They have no idea what he said. They're taking
80% of the people that are against it. Right now.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I'm telling you, about 80% of them did not watch it, and I'm being generous. What they saw was they saw little clips on YouTube, or people talking about it, who didn't particularly care for it, and they're taking that as fact when it's probably not fact. So my recommendation to all of you is, what we're saying here, go watch it for yourself, make your own opinion on it, because that's the only way you're going to be able to do it.
Speaking of that, do you have anything left on Chappelle?
Do I have anything left on Chappelle?
Another topic, because I have something that ties in what we were just talking about.
No, I was just gonna say that. What was I gonna say? I had something. As far as people opening up their eyes, I mean, I think we're seeing that all around. People opening up their eyes to what's going on around them. You're seeing it everywhere. And I think it's a good thing. I mean, I think even leftists, people who you might not necessarily agree with. Especially, I don't want to say especially you, but most likely you. No,
I have a hard time agreeing with leftists.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from ignorance. It doesn't come from bullheadedness. It comes from understanding that what's happened in people's lives is what brings them to their beliefs. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And my ups and my downs, and your ups and your downs lead you to what you believe in.
Absolutely.
That's where, and I think the problem is that people try to sway that, and people try to tell you an opinion is wrong. Right. And if you can't respectively understand that somebody just is, there's a reason why they think a certain way. And no matter how extreme it is, I still deal with this with family and friends that are older, that are in that older generation. You're like, there's a point you have to let it go. But anyway, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, and I was just as far as what I'm trying to say is I'm just saying that a lot of people are opening up to it, not just, your conservatives or your righties and your liberals and whatever. Leftists are opening up their eyes to some of the BS that's going around. It just amazes me that we're in a day and an age where all these people are all of a sudden going, what the government says is 100% absolute, and it's like, it's not really how that works.
Yeah.
But Yeah, but what did you want to go into? What was your?
I was gonna say making sure that you're looking up your own information. This is a small story that happened, and everybody will remain anonymous. But making sure that you back up your story before you open your mouth. You know, it's best if you have any questions about what you're gonna say. It's best to not say it. For example, we had somebody, I run a Discord server outside of here. Real quick, if nobody knows what Discord server is, it's an area where you can have a bunch of chat rooms. You can have multiple people in all the rooms, or everybody in one room anyway. It's a bunch of chat rooms. People are in it talking, like actual audibly talking. And a person begins an argument without all the information. A person checks them on the information, tells them they're wrong. The person that is wrong gets even more mad. You think it dies off. They get proven wrong. And then they're even more mad, so they have to get kicked off because they won't let go of the fact that they didn't look up their own information before they opened their mouth. So do your own research on a lot of things, regardless of what we say too. You know,
we're not absolute. That's for sure.
No. And I mean, information does sometimes change, and I hate people when people say the science has changed. Science will always change, but I get you. And Boog and I aren't always going to agree, and not always speak on things we don't know of. So that's one reason why I chose to do this with him, is that we normally speak on what we feel we know and will admit to something we don't.
So that leads me into, I just want to make a comment from last week. I just want people to know, yes, I am well aware that the Trump supporters do not make up 30% of the Republican Party. Yes, I was exaggerating on that number. I do that a lot. I know it's more closer to 3 to 5%. My point is that I think you'll see on the Republican side, it meets just as much even as the Democrat side as far as how things sway. So just want to clear that up because I know someone in the comments will rip me for it. Yes, I am well aware. Adam is well aware. I know that probably about 3% of the Republican Party makes up of Trump supporters. Okay? Just want to clarify. It was an exaggeration. Anyways, as far as...
I caught it in the moment.
Yeah, no worries.
So actually, kind of to piggyback in what I would prefer to do for this episode is if we do hit anything political, let's do the skipping stone where it stays all on the surface. We don't dive into anything, meaning don't bring up any deep topics. But what I was going to say, kind of in, so you have the alts that we've already talked about, those 3 to 5 on both sides that are absolutely the most ridiculous people and the loudest people.
Yes.
Those somehow that 6 to 10% of people are the loudest people in the nation. But what I was saying is, coming from a Republican point of view, even though I see a lot of this as a train crash that's happening with with the country right now, I think what it's doing is and this is going to sound weird at first, but let me get through the end of it because it's a wholly good idea. I think it's opening the eyes of some people on the left to, man, the party's doing this weird shit. But what that's doing on the right with the Republicans is it's saying, hey, look, not all the Democrats are brainwashed. Do you see? So you got these both, it's an equal positive on both sides. Because one side is just starting to think maybe just a little different or talk amongst themselves more, I think. When you open that discussion, I think is where it starts to come from. And by them having a little bit more open conversation in their own party, which I commend them for, because our party, I say our party as far as Republican goes, are sometimes a lot more bullheaded. By them starting to have a little bit of communication and the middle being involved, So you've got the middle and some of the left being involved. The right all of a sudden is like, well, maybe my idea where they're all stupid isn't quite right. So now you've got the right questioning a little bit of their bullheartedness, Yes. And it's weird that it took somebody as insert extremely bad word that I could probably get in trouble for calling the president here. By putting somebody there it's how the ebb and flow of the population underneath him is doing, and it may be even stirring the proverbial pot. They're trying to do one thing, and I think it's going to backfire on them. I think they're trying to really separate, and you can see that in everything they're doing. They're trying to really separate. You hate these people, and you owe these people this. But I think what it's doing is it's starting to push the people like this that are, you know what I mean? Everybody was standing still fighting, and now it's starting to move them. And they're starting to be like, oh, wait a minute, your idea is pretty good. And then all of a sudden it goes back this way, and you're like, hey, that's pretty close to what I was thinking. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's starting to move around, and I don't think it's going to go the way that the powers that be want it to.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this particular podcast is because I wanted people to see me being a more center left person compared to someone who is center right. To be honest with you, I'd love to have people on the podcast who are you could consider far left or further right, but I wanted to do this podcast so people could see that two people who sit on different sides of an aisle can come together and have a discussion. And not and maybe there will be a point where Adam's like, Boog, you're right. I have no argument for you. And I can guarantee you there's going to be points where I'm like, yeah, Adam, I have no argument for that. And you're most likely right. And
I think at the end of the day, the way I think you and I are both equally we're equally polar opposites. You know what I mean? We both lean a little bit into each of our sides. And I think as long as we get to the point that we can spark a conversation, whether we get our part resolved or not, that may never be. We're both pretty bullheaded. We're both pretty stubborn in our views.
I mean, I know I am.
Yeah, I mean, I'm self-admittedly bullheaded when it comes to that. But I think as long as we can get to the point, I think our goal and what the viewers will see is that we can at least bring it up into a discussion to start pushing around the viewpoints of both sides. And I think how that's going to help people is that they can be in the middle and they can be listening to, oh, this person's a little left, this person's a little right. And they're like, that's a good point. That's a good point. And maybe they can either make their own or it may help them a little.
Yeah. I mean, and there will be times we will get heated in our conversation. I will guarantee that. Because we
both guarantee that the only time that we ever get heated, it's going to be in politics.
Yeah, most likely. The other thing that I want, that I've always wanted from the podcast, or that I want from this podcast and why I wanted to start it, is I also wanted people to see that you can have two different ideals and still be friends at the end of the day. Right?
Even if they're drastic. Well, there's a couple things that him and I are polar opposites about, and those will come out, but it's enough to discuss them, and at the end of the day just understand how the human beings are that are here.
We all have our own minds. We're all allowed to have those minds. So and that's all.
The massive argument we're gonna have that I think we're gonna have to hold off for at least 20 episodes is when you try to convince me that the best movie in the world is Grease. I mean, it's gonna be tough. I know you and your musicals, the way you sing when the camera's off, but
I mean,
we're gonna have an argument when it comes to that, bro. You
can't tell me that Grease isn't the best movie of all time. John Travolta with greased up hair. I mean,
hey, Boog, do you know why you picked me to be the podcast partner?
Because you're funny and I'm not.
Because I'm the one that you want.
Wow. You just made me second guess my decision. A lot right there. But yeah, so I mean, moving on, at the end of the day, all I want from people is to know you can have extreme different ideas. I mean, as long as your morals are still there, right? You still believe in helping people, you still believe in being a good, kind-hearted person, and you're not judging people for, things that are outside of their control. At the end of the day, you can have different points of views, but you can still be friends, and you can still enjoy each other's company. You just don't want to talk about politics, but all the time. Yeah, right. And I just want people to see that two friends can have an uncomfortable conversation, and still at the end of the day, hey, Adam, I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right, man.
Yeah, easy.
So, but yeah,
even later that night. I mean, just to let people know that even after that podcast we had, it was like we were hanging out. We hung out for a good 20 minutes, half an hour after. We were just talking about random stuff and whatnot. So that's how easy it comes down. It comes out.
it's nothing. At least to me, it's nothing. I mean, I could go to, over to Chris's chat, who is a hardcore conservative, and I mean, we have been in full-fledged slothing at the mouth, spitting at each other, right? We didn't.
High school jam.
Yeah, I mean, like, we weren't insulting each other or anything like that, but we're, in our arguments, we're passionate, and literally, at the end of the time, we're like, so yeah, man, did you see the Patriots last night? They sucked, and that's just who we are as a group of friends, and I just want everyone to see that can be there.
You want to up your Discord arguing by one level? Yeah, okay, so open up the rule that you're allowed to move people from channel to channel.
Mm-hmm.
Try to have an argument while you're bouncing from room to room. So you're either trying to chase somebody or get out, but then you're trying to get your word in edgewise while you're in the same room. So you're hearing, blink, blink, I gotta think, blink, blink, you gotta really blink, I gotta blink. It's fantastic. We got to keep it lively over there.
Yeah,
I mean, home of Sinister Gaming.
You can't get bored. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
you can only kick so many people that you don't like.
Yeah. Don't kick people unless they're being literally a douchebag.
I'm gonna be stage this way for a second.
Yeah, no worries. So moving on and back to the point that you were making is that a lot of people are opening up their eyes. I think there's a lot of people right now who are like, man, this isn't right. What you're saying just doesn't make sense. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people in, more so I would say, in the Democratic Party versus the Republican Party. But there's still some there in the Republic, like Mitch McConnell and
Now, are you talking like the populace of regular people? Or are you talking more of the politicians that are up in the House area?
I'm talking about the politicians. So
nice. Okay. I see what you're saying.
The point that I'm getting at is that in the Democratic Party right now, it's not. Yes, it's the left when it comes to wokeness, right? So we have cancel culture going on, right? So
normal association,
right? And there's quite a bit of those. But where Democrats right now are standing out the most is the authority. Tongue tie. I don't know why this word tongue ties me every time. Authoritarians in the Democratic Party.
Man, you like that kid that's never played baseball when they put him up for the piñata. So not only can he not hit it if he was looking at it, you actually blindfold him and then spin him and let him go at it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is. I cannot say that word. But the authoritarians.
I may mess it up too, but I don't know. The authoritarians?
Yes, that one.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
In the Democratic Party, it's just heavily. It's heavy in the Democratic Party. And I think a lot of lefties are in that trope with them because right now they're trying to appease them. Why? Why when you have 30%? The fear. Yeah, I mean...
I think unfortunately the fear of job worked. I think they were actually doing a lot of fear mongering behind the scenes, the threats, things like that. And unfortunately, that's I think it worked. I really did. I think there are a lot of people just towed the line because they made a lot of people, myself included, and I will admit this every day. When it comes time to really standing up, like verbally or something for something, that's tough.
Oh, it's the hardest thing you'll ever do, but that's another reason for this podcast.
Like moral, like I'm not talking like life or death.
I know what you're saying.
Like putting a friendship on the line and you want to say something, you want to say an opinion. Mm-hmm. I would have to bet that the majority of people will stay quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's unfortunate, but
I'm the same way. Yeah.
You'd be like, this is what needs to be said. This is what I believe, and it should be said right now. But it's gonna cause this big fucking
rift in my life. Yeah.
It's going to cause a lot more stress in my life than what I need right now. So
everybody hates it.
But you know what's on the other side of that though, dude?
Freedom.
It feels good. Oh yeah, and it feels
freedom.
So good. But everybody's held life. That's where life has got, man. Like, carry on.
I myself have fallen into that trope, and that's why I wanted this podcast. Right. I wanted this podcast because I was sick of it. I was sick of being silent. Whatever, our audience currently is 5 subscribers. If you're watching this in the future, yes, we have 5 subscribers right now.
Wait, is that like this? Is that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Wow. Put those guns down, baby. Put those guns.
That was you got free tickets today.
But I got caught up in that trope. I understand where people come from and being afraid, but I wanted this podcast to say, screw it.
Yep.
People are going to hear what I have to say. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. I'm cool with that. If you're going to hate me for it, then honestly, you weren't that good of a friend in the first place.
Right.
It's that simple. I'm not doing right now, especially right now. I'm not doing anything to hurt you. I'm not insulting anyone. The only person right now that I've insulted is who? Joe Biden. It's the only one that I've said any type of insult right now about. I'm not saying. Leftists have their ideals. I don't agree with them. Right. I 100%.
Nowhere in there did you say about them being bad people?
No, I don't. I think a majority of them are not bad people per se. I mean, there's quite a few of them that are nasty people. That's for sure. CNN is one of the most nastiest things I've ever seen in my life. I don't understand how anyone could watch it. I mean, when you have people on there telling you literally not to do research on something, you should know that is not something to watch. Period. H. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I don't know. Was that episode 1 or 2? We were talking about that. The more you take something like this, it says, no, you don't have to look at it. It's okay. It's not going to harm you. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. And the more you do that, the more somebody's like, no. Mm-hmm. No. It should be, at least. The first thing your brain should think is, no. You show me what that is. There's a reason why you don't want me to see that.
Yeah. No. Give it. No. Yeah, exactly. Like CNN is
be like, I will set you on
fire. CNN's so bad. It's just I don't understand how anyone. I do not understand how anyone could watch it. Number one, the people on it are slimy. They're wicked. Honestly, I don't understand how you can watch mainstream media at all right now. Even Fox.
They all look the same way. Ready?
It really, yeah.
The world is burning, but it's okay. Our side is right.
It doesn't matter what you say. They're wrong. We're right. Catch you next week. All you hear
the background's like, excuse me, what about we're not taking questions right now, no matter who we are. But I'm so confused.
Yeah. I mean, it's horrible. CNN is terrible. It's terrible network. Fox isn't any better. MSNBC, C-SPAN. Just stop. I gotta be honest with you. I don't watch C-SPAN that much. I have watched it in the past. C-SPAN is not bad. It's not terrible.
I've always taken C-SPAN. Well, everything I've always seen on C-SPAN too has always been like the live congressional things. You know what I mean?
Right.
When I tune in, you're listening to things that are actually happening. And what I find really interesting about that is, like, if you take any of the interviews, I'll tell you right now, I have no idea any interviews that were on C-SPAN, but I can tell you when you watch live things, it's like, well, you really can't twist it if you're watching somebody say it. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, if somebody wants to watch a congressional hearing and see what's going on, and they're showing the congressional hearing, and you're watching it, that's nobody's opinion. That's the person's word. I said. So I said, yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not a huge fan of Joe Rogan either, to be honest with you. Like, Joe Rogan's all right. I don't listen to what I listen to is like clips from other shows or whatever. But really, I hope that people find their news from independent media sources, because they're going to be the ones that are going to be honest with you. CNN, I'm going to tell you right now, CNN is just going to try to push Democratic policy. That's all they've been doing. If you cannot see that, if you cannot see that they're trying to, I just make your mind mush. Right. Then there's something wrong with you.
Very persuasive news is what they're trying to do.
How they've got caught in lies after lie after lie after lie after lie, and people still watch it. Okay, you have fun with that. So
exactly. To reference back to your Joe Rogan, me being a little more, little more on the right side. Even his political views, I don't tune in specifically for those. What I like about it is if you're curious about a specific topic, or even if it's stuff about the government, look at the people he's interviewing, and that's how I choose when to tune in. You know, he has an ex-CIA guy on there, and he asks that guy a lot of questions. He asks him a lot of hard questions, and he catches them. And you mentioned CNN, because he had, I don't know if it was which news organization that rang a bell. It may not. We may be able to correct it later, whatever it is. But he had the head of one of the companies on there who said something about Joe Rogan. And
he had the doctor. I can't remember his name, Shai or whatever. He had the doctor on there, and
it may have been him, but I thought this was from the news organization, because he's like, "You guys lied about me."
Yeah, and no, it's their main doctor.
It was him. Okay,
yeah. I can't remember his name. I will put it here right now. I know who you're talking about. Yes, they had the doctor on there. He's right. Like, how can you guys sit there and say that I took horse paste? I was prescribed by a doctor. And then the doctor said, he said something like, yeah, you're right. We shouldn't have
said that. Is
right. And then the next day on CNN, doing an interview with whoever the heck show he's on, he was like, yeah, no, what's his face said, but it's, horse paste is made from it. And he's like, yep, it is. And totally just everything that he said on the show was like, nothing. Ridiculous, dude.
Yeah. I'm not saying that you should just listen to people blindly, but that's how I was saying when I wanted to hear about it. And or you go on the things of listening to him and Elon Musk.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I think people should be interested in right now. And I think it's really good that people like Joe Rogan and the plethora of people that have had their own podcasts that are so successful. And yeah, a lot of it's humor, and they're making fun of people and they're talking about shit. But then when they get onto a topic that they actually care about, man, the stuff you can learn, the stuff that's out there that's not political. I remember a world that was not built based on politics. We were talking about inventions. We were talking about technology and computers, and everything was advancing. And that was what everybody was talking about. Not this president, political party, political shit. That's all it is.
It's become entertainment. It's really what it's become. I mean, as soon as we started making politics into entertainment, it's really screwed with our lives, because that's where you have, people coming in, woke, cancel culture. You have the Democrat.
Really cool. Ban politics from all public speech. Make it back burner again. No, it'll never happen. I know. That's fantasy land. Rub a magical lamp. Big blue guy comes out. Make a wish. I got you. I'm not Aladdin. But that's what I'm saying. That would be cool. If you couldn't put politics anywhere and let people go back to talking amongst themselves and figuring out their own shit, and then going back to focusing on cool shit in the world, it would be a fantastic place. People would be the happiest they've ever been.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Politics aren't being shoved down their
social media
24/7. Social media, terrible.
I mean, that's what happened. You got a pandemic that went around. People were just inside. They had nothing to do. They watched all their shows on Netflix. What are they gonna do now? And they tune into CNN.
Yeah.
And you get that thrown in your face, and it's just
funneled by default.
Yeah. I mean, I always recommend to everyone, don't just take your ideas from one source. Don't just listen to me. Don't just listen to Adam. Do your research. Make sure that we're correct, because we're wrong. We're wrong quite a bit. And so, yeah, just make sure you do your own research. And that's all I got to say about that.
Can I throw a curveball at you now?
Sure.
Something that we've never talked about. I just want to know your opinion. Have you seen the movie Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Of course I have.
What's your opinion of this show? What do you like? What do you like? You like this movie? What did you think of it? Okay, let's do first impressions.
So I thought it was very strange. I personally am not a huge fan of it. I understand why people do like it, and of course, it's just not my taste of movie.
So in a little more depth, musical content, acting, script. What was it that kind of like the big thing that stands out? Because there's a lot of people that just plain out don't like musicals.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of musicals either. I mean, that's the main thing. The concept is, I like the concept of it. Of course, the acting was fine. I just don't like musicals at all. I really don't.
That's why I like to dive into it, because there's a lot to that movie. That movie is deep with content. As far as and sometimes like people I just like it. It's entertaining. So I'm gonna put down a challenge, and I don't know if we'll do like a reaction or something to it. Have you ever heard of a movie called The Newsies?
I have not. No.
Christian Bale, Batman, main character in a musical when he was in his early 20s about the newsboys in New York.
Oh, okay.
And it has a lot of secondary characters. It's got Bill Pullman in it and there's a lot of secondary characters. It's got Robert Duvall is also, so it's got a bunch of great people, and there's a lot of talking, acting to it. But you and I will watch it together.
Okay.
And then we'll record it, because you said you don't like musicals.
No, I do not.
And this is the number one movie I go to when people say they don't like musicals.
Interesting.
There is a number two, but it depends on how you receive number one.
We'll build you up in some steps.
I'm smart, man. IQ 200 when it comes to getting people to like stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a people person, bro.
I've seen a lot. I mean, I've seen a lot of musicals. They're just never my forte per se. I like music. That's the strange part. Right? I mean, I really like music.
Yep. But it's very interesting. No matter how much you can be into music, when a musical comes out, you're like, and that's also different watching it on a screen and watching it in person.
Right. And the other thing is, I think they got a bad name too. I think a lot of musicals get a bad name musicals in general get bad raps, because typically when you think of a musical in your head, you think of romantic comedy. Is what I was gonna say. Romance.
They both fall into that. That's a very feminine category. So men. That's why I talk about this with all my guy friends, not my girlfriends. Weird girl space friends.
We're gonna girl friends.
That's why I talk about it more with my guy friends, because it's more of a faux pas for a guy to enjoy like a musical or romantic comedy. I love the theory of romantic comedies. You know how every one of them is going to twist. But I kind of watch it a little more in depth, because I'm a movie lover. So I'm going to be like, okay, what twist are they going to use to get to that, How bad is he gonna or she gonna mess up 2/3 of the way through the movie? You count it down. You're like, and 3, 2, click, and she pushed him off the boat. Crap! There, they messed up.
You always know if it's gonna be the man or the woman too. Yeah. You always know it's gonna be the man or the woman. Have you ever seen The Lighthouse? Or Lake House with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock?
The Lake House, yes.
Yeah, Lake House. So that movie was beyond predictable, but I actually enjoyed that movie.
Because of how they did it.
Yeah.
The cinematography, the way it was acted.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I love Keanu Reeves, right? Best man in the world. I don't care. Keanu Reeves for president. Because I love him that much.
Too humble to be a president, though.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
And this is why I'm going to breeze. I mean, you can bookmark this if you want, but one of the light conversations I have is you need a little bit of an arrogant son of a bitch to lead a country or to lead anything. Yep. And I'm not saying that everybody has faults. I understand the faults, but we'll come back to this saying that you do need somebody who has a little bit of a chest out, arrogance, fist clenched to run anything.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally back that too. But anyways,
I think it'll come back to like when the election happens in a couple of years. I think we'll come back to it.
We'll cover it.
Like we'll see what happens. Absolutely, we'll be right there.
We'll cover the election next year. So yeah, there you go.
We have the in-state one next year, right?
Yep. It's should be Senate and House, and then governors for a lot of states. But anyways, what I was saying about the lake house and how predictable it was is the scene where that dude gets hit by the car, right? So, spoiler alert, Keanu Reeves gets hit by a car. About halfway through the movie, and he dies, and that it was completely predictable. Like they made it so it was like kind of a mystery, but you're like, that's Keanu got hit by the car. So that just goes into how romantic comedies or romantic love stories can be extremely predictable. But I still love the movie. I thought it was a great idea. I love the idea of the movie. I love the concept of it. Love the ending. I thought they could do a little bit better with the ending. But anyways, so I do not hate romantic movies or romantic comedies. There are some that I do enjoy. There have been some that have made me cry. Like Halloween. But anyways,
another thing, we're not to bookmark for the future. I got two things. Maybe we can knock these out this week. Might be something. So you had me watch a comedy piece.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And it actually goes along with at least two or three of things that we've been talking about. Theo Von. Do you know who that is?
Sounds familiar. I do not know.
He's got he still rocks the mullet. He's from Louisiana. He has a very specific way
yes. I know.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. Yes.
One of his catch things, he always goes back, "You don't know me, bro." Like he's always like, so
he's funny.
He put out his Netflix special.
Oh, did he? Oh, I have to see that. I had
just watched it with the people over in the other crew. So you watch it and we can react to that too.
I love him, dude.
That one you can watch on your own. The movie I want to watch with you though.
Yeah.
And what I'd like to say about the movie, there, like I said, there's a step 2 into getting you to liking musicals, and people are going to pay attention or stay tuned, because I'm not going to tell you what stage 2 is. You're going to be very open to watching the next movie after watching Newsies with me.
Oh boy, is it Rent?
You don't have nope. It's not Rent.
Because I hated Rent every last minute of it.
The second movie, there's going to be people that listen to this from my Discord that'll know, and don't spoil it because I'll kick you off my server. But I've been talking about a clip, and I've been showing a clip to everybody lately. And I have seen this one clip about the main song from this movie 50 times in the last week, 7 days. But let's just say one of the catch. This will get you guys enthralled to see the Theo Von. Is one of his phrases is, in school there was a kid, and to describe how well he was, he goes, "This is one of those kids that needed to open his mouth to learn." Like this.
He's funny as hell. Like his
very inappropriate.
His skit about the hooker in the back of the taxi. Like,
yeah, that's it's that show. This Isn't Happening. This is the name of the series. If you guys haven't seen it, sorry to plug something else, but it's entertaining, and I get a lot of humor from it. Just type in "This Is Not Happening," and it's small skits from a whole bunch of different famous people and somewhat be famous people about one event. It's just one full skit, and normally about 20 minutes long. And Theo Von's is where I got introduced to who he was, and Bug was just talking about it, so go ahead.
Well, I just think he reminds me a lot of Mitch Hedberg.
Yes.
He really does.
And from what I've heard, like other interviews with Bobby Lee and Joey Diaz and all these other comics that know him and hang out with him, Brendan Schaub, the old, he was a UFC fighter turned podcast, whatever he does now. They all say he's just that person. Like,
I believe it.
If you're, he's like, it's not, if it's an act, he has completely absorbed the act, 100% DNA absorbed the act. Yeah. He goes, because you wake up in the morning and, you know, I don't remember who it was probably Bobby Lee, because Bobby Lee has some of the stupidest stories about him. And he's like, he goes, I went to his trailer and I knock on his door, and he goes, there he is with his hair, you know, all out in a skunk mess. And he's like, yo, we in Michigan yet? And he's like, bro, you're in your own fucking house. You know, but the way he does the impersonation of him, like, yo, we Michigan ready, yeah? And he does a perfect, like, Theo Vaughn. And he's like, yo, you in your own, you know, he says that. And it's like, he's like that all the time. It's the way he approaches life. It's really cool to see.
I mean,
Special's out now. Special's out.
He's definitely one that has dabbled in his drugs, for sure.
And so, you remember from that story, he says, and that's when he was 7 months sober.
Yeah.
He got sober and he's been sober. So you tell me within the first 5 to 10 minutes of that special if he's back on cocaine or not.
I bet he is.
So this dude is pacing a stage. It's a stage. It's a Netflix special stage. It's not a comedy special stage. It's got like a comedy club stage. So right. He's walking, and you're just like, the cameraman is kind of like, we're gonna slowly pan back so it doesn't look like he's walking so much. You know, because at first the cameraman's like, okay, oh, okay. So when he's doing the camera tricks, yeah, start to pan out a little bit. I don't have to move the camera back and forth so much, just like that now. Just a little wiggle makes it look like he's moving a lot less.
If you haven't checked him out, you really have to. He is very inappropriate, so do not watch him around kids, but he's hilarious. I love dark humor. I've always loved dark humor. I will love it until the end of time. Dark humor is wonderful. Enjoy it. He is hilarious.
Yeah.
Beyond him.
I think he's the new generation of dumb humor, of it's so dumb we get it humor.
Yep.
Because right now, if I start playing the Blue Collar Comedy Tour for my son who's 12, you know what? I'm not even gonna say it. I don't even know what I'm gonna do. Now that I said it, I'm like, it's kind of that stupid humor.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a 12-year-old humor. I'm gonna play it for him and I'll videotape him and we'll see.
God, what happened to them? Like,
their humor just died out. They ran out of material.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
they were sort of a one-trick pony. And what I noticed from them is, Larry the Cable Guy tried to pick up movies off from it to stay alive, but Ron White never really fully pushed himself into it.
You know, probably a good thing, to be honest.
Yeah, and then he went off on his tour, on his own stuff, and I really enjoy that delivery.
Yeah, he's probably the best one out of all of them.
And let me compare him to somebody that you'll never guess that I'll compare him to. Their delivery is identical. Is Ron White and Cat Williams. So here, you ready for the delivery time? What it is they push the joke, and they bring you right to where they're going to give you the punchline, and they hang you, and they let your brain finish the dirty work. So the content is obviously light years different.
Yeah.
But the delivery of making you finish the joke before they say it. If you watch both of them, watch like a 10-minute clip and a 10-minute clip, and you'd be like, okay, I see where he is. Those two I studied because they're some of my favorite. They're in my top 10, easy in my top 10. But they both do that. They'll push it. I know people could be like, oh, that's part of comedy. But I'm like, I don't pat myself on the back very often, but I'm a student of comedy. I don't just find things funny. I find out why they're funny. And if you tear enough jokes apart, you can start timing everything different. People are like, why are you so fast? It's because I've heard 100,000 things, and those things are in my head. They just come back. But it's the way that they manipulate the words to bring your brain to the same exact spot. And you're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I finished the joke, and I feel like a shithead for it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that, because, yeah, being, unlike me, who I just enjoy comedy, you being more of a person who I don't want to say performs comedy, but you perform comedy.
I'm a student. I just say I'm a student of comedy because I delve more into it.
Yeah, right. You're more of a. You don't take every bit. I don't either, but you don't take every bit of life seriously, right? So, but yeah, I mean, someone who probably actually studied it more than I have could probably see those mannerisms and determine that, you know, they're similar in delivery. I guess I could see that because you're right. I mean, even with Cat Williams, I think I've noticed, you know, he kind of stops and you're like, but you didn't say a punchline. I get it though. I get it.
You know? He's like this. He's like, Dad, I'm waiting. And then as soon as you go, you hear the start to go, and he goes boom, and then he hits you with a line, and Ron White does the same. Do you remember? Have you seen the one about lions? I won't go into very much, but when a lion in a cage, tiger in a cage, and all this, he does it. He's like, what do you think that the lion's thinking? And he goes, if anybody was to ever come over there, and he goes, and then one day, and he acts as the lion seeing something. He doesn't give you the joke. He doesn't say that baby that fell over. Yeah, that whole bad thing that happened. Yeah. He doesn't say anything about it, but all of a sudden he's like, and then there's that one day, and he's like,
nigga, this is not a drill. Get ready, nigga. They think we bullshitting. Get.
And it just, your brain now just plays out the whole disaster of the kid falling in and getting attacked and blah blah blah. But he didn't have to say any of it. I can see his face. Oh my word, I have to come up with this guy's name right now. Very inappropriate delivery, very slow delivery, and he says things that people never want to hear, ever want to hear.
There's a lot of those. Or used to be. Used to be a lot of those.
Chaleski. This is going to be funny. You should go back to this clip. Nope, I'm not going to come up with his name. Everyone's going to laugh at me too, because now I don't know what it is.
Input here.
Yeah, input right here, whatever that one was.
That dude, that guy we're talking about right now.
The same type of delivery where he never finishes the joke.
Yeah, it's a lot different than comedians like, you know, Kevin Hart and Dane Cook, who have very what's the word I'm looking for? They're very physical when they cause delivery, when they do their delivery. So like the manual, you're muted. Oh, never mind. You're not. Never mind. Go back.
I went to take a breath. I went. They're very animated.
Yeah, a very animated comedy.
And it's Anthony Jeselnik is who I was talking about.
I have not heard of him. I'll have to check him out.
Yeah, do a reaction video for any one of his, because he has dark humor, like Killing Baby's dark humor.
Wow, no shit.
Yeah, just dark. He doesn't care. He keeps coming back to it. He brings it up, and that's one of the best things about humor is that the darker it gets, if you keep bringing out the fact that it's dark humor, it makes it worse. Mm-hmm. And like he'll say a joke, and you hear oh, and he'll look, then he'll stop what he's doing. He'll turn and look. He's like, oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg. You know, like preparing him, like it's gonna get a lot worse, and it does. It gets so bad. But you want the Mama Morbid joke of the week? My mom tells me jokes like once every.
Sure, Mama Morbid joke of the week.
Yeah, what do you call two witches that live together?
I don't know.
Broommates. You're welcome for that, sir.
My brain hurts now, man. So she's a dad joke kind of guy, but I guess mom joke.
You You got it. That's why I say it. It's a Mama Morbid joke.
Mama Morbid joke of the day.
Mama Morbid joke. Mama Morbid joke. Probably the weaker month because she doesn't come up with them very fast.
So anyways, back to comedy. That's actually funny. Anyways. I killed him.
You and I gonna have words. I think you just called me not funny. I'm just kidding.
No, I think I just called your mama not funny. Is what I just. I don't know what. Yeah, Mama Morbid's gonna come after me instead. So.
I told you, I've had it up to here with midgets, Steve, and it's gonna be dangerous. It's gonna be dangerous, bro. I once saw my mom when I was like a freshman or something. My uncle's only 5 years older than me. Shut up, it's main math. Don't ask. And so he's more like an older brother. And my mom was watching him one day, and he got mad. And he put his hands against the wall and he kicked the wall, and it's just drywall. So if you have boots on,
break right through it.
Yeah, he puts a hole in the wall, and she got real mad. And my mom has never been over like 5'5", and my uncle was like 6 feet 6'1", senior in high school, football player, defensive lineman, whatever. She grabbed him. She did the chest thing, you know, where you grab the cloth. And she extended those little tiny arms of hers and went wham! And he went up against the wall. And she gave him the mind.
Yeah.
Never underestimate these people.
I don't. I've known too many of them. Probably drop me in 2 seconds.
But anyway, so back to what you were saying. After Mama Morbid's extremely hilarious joke,
it's Mama Morbid. Don't worry, Mama. I'm gonna cut it out. I'm gonna cut out that part. Don't hurt me. So yeah, I mean, it just amazes me how different each person in comedy can actually be, and the way that they deliver. I mean, I'm more of an animated jokester myself, so you know, I tend to like those jokes more, but I mean, I'll laugh at just about everything.
I got a ranking question for you then. Do you
15.
like animated humor?
Yes.
No, you don't get to pick a number. You have to rank these. I'm just gonna give out animated shows. There's no reason. These are just shows I can pick off the top of my head that I think are relatively connected because of an inappropriate humor. Rank these shows from your favorite to your least favorite. South Park, Family Guy, Simpsons.
South Park would be number 1 for me. I grew up on South Park and absolutely loved it. Old school Family Guy, I would probably say would be my second, and then Simpsons would be my third.
What do you consider the difference between old school and new school? Where is that? Ballpark. I mean, not necessarily. Don't be like, well, on season this and episode that, because I'll call bullshit for you.
Is season 5, episode 21.
You know what I mean? Like, what did it that lost it for you? Did they become too political? Did they just repeat?
Pre-woke. So I'd probably say 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, okay, maybe a little bit more. 4, 5, 6 years ago. That anything before that time, Family Guy. I mean, when Family Guy wasn't trying to push
agendas.
Yeah. Push the government as being this great thing, because Family Guy used to make fun of the government more than anyone besides South Park. And the whole reason why I like South Park is literally because they don't give a shit what you think. When you can have Jennifer Lopez as a hand puppet singing about tacos and have me laughing hysterically, probably for reasons that I'm not going to mention. Family Guy used to be that, and now it's not. Now we're pushing the government's tyrannical, dictatorship. So I can't stand that. I mean, when you're going away from what your ideals originally were, And I think, I mean, I guess you could get into the topic about how when celebrities start making, you know, a lot of money, they want to keep that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hardcore. I mean, you've seen it.
I think it's worse with musicians than with actors.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever see, I can't remember who it was. There was a concert and he's literally sitting there. He's like, hey, all the vaccinated people out there, who has the Moderna? And everybody's like, yeah. And then they're like, who has the Pfizer? And they're like, yeah. And then they're like, the Johnson & Johnson, yeah. Who here's not vaccinated? Boo. And everybody's doing it. That is a fucking cult, dude.
Wow. That is exactly what that is.
That is a fucking cult for
every segregating people for as one reason, for a specific reason.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say this to everyone. I mean, as far as the vaccination goes, consult your doctor.
Go back to episode 1.
Yeah. Consult your doctor. Just because every time you talk about it on YouTube, you need to make sure you say this. Consult your doctor. For your medical needs, don't listen to us. We are not the end all be all, and we are not giving medical advice to you. Consult your doctor. But when you have, and I'm saying this to all of you as well, whoever's watching, if you are sitting there listening to a concert and they're talking about vaccines and they're saying, yeah, and then booing the people who are not fucking vaccinated, you are a fucking cult. You are pushing an ideal, just like the suicide pacts of some of the older cults that you go research them. You are a fucking cult. And wake the fuck up. If you're sitting there agreeing with a lot of these people about some of this bullshit, wake the fuck up. That's all I have to say.
If you're enjoying woke community, you need to go back, and the woke people need to watch about Waco is what they need to watch about.
Mm-hmm.
That's a dangerous place. That's what idealism comes to.
All I'm saying to you, you want to be a part of that cult? I don't give a shit. Stop trying to push it onto me. And I am vaccinated, okay? I believe in vaccines, all right? But don't push your fucking agendas towards me. I'm just... That's the shit I'm tired of. You know, allow me to have my own goddamn opinion. Trust me, I've spent the time researching vaccines, and I know I've spent the time researching it, so just leave me the fuck alone. That's all I have to say about it. But I just...
This one should be... That the title of this one should definitely be "Boog Gets Heated Without Opposition."
I mean,
It's passion.
I really am.
Don't mistake it for anything but passion. My part is humor. One of the reasons Boog got me here, he will tell you 1,000%, is I can make anything funny. It doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what it is. And I hope I offend at least every one of you at least once during this entire time that we have this.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to. Yeah.
You should laugh about it.
Anyway,
like you were saying, he's passionate about it.
I can't stand people. I don't want to push my ideals on you. If you agree with what I'm saying, that's awesome. I don't want to push my ideals on you. I want you to listen to me and say you're an idiot, if that's really what you want to do. But do not push your philosophies and your ideals on me. You want to make an argument? I'll listen to the argument. Is it going to change my mind about being free to make a medical decision on my own? You know, yeah, no. So, but you want to make an argument with me? Feel free to make the argument, but don't try to push that bullshit on me, because it ain't going to work. I'm sorry, it just ain't going to work. If I completely offend one of my friends, I'll be more than willing to apologize if I believe that I might have been in the wrong. But don't push it.
There's also a difference between apologizing for the emotion of offending somebody and apologizing for your beliefs.
Right. Exactly.
So be careful. Like in that, I'm very careful when I do that, because obviously I offend a lot of people in my life. I will never say I'm sorry because I offended you because I think this.
Right.
I'd be like, I'm sorry that you felt attacked, let me tell you that why I don't do. People try to say it's very similar to gaslighting, but it's not. It's acknowledging the fact that, listen, my intentions were not to hurt you. It's all about intentions.
Right.
I won't apologize if I believe something is right or wrong and it offended you. I will say, listen, I'm sorry that you felt offended. You weren't attacked. I don't feel like you're a threat. I wasn't trying to attack you. I said, yeah, I do believe that way, but it doesn't bother me what you believe. Kind of get that middle ground. But I find a lot of people, when they apologize, they're kind of apologizing for what they said.
What they said, yeah, what they did. I will not apologize for what I said.
Right.
I will
dive down through it to intention.
Right. And what you're looking for is malice, the intent of malice. Your intent's not there for malice. I'm not a malice person, except for when it comes to. Did I really just say I'm not a malice person?
Yeah. Malicious.
Yeah. I'm vaccinated. I've been vaccinated.
Yeah, I missed that one earlier too, so we're good.
I know. But what I was trying to say is I'm not gonna push malice upon you, except if you're leading my country and totally destroying my economy and pushing us closer and closer to war with a country we really don't want to go to war with. There's that, but.
Yeah,
I might.
That comes directly back to your personal well-being, though.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
which always goes back to intention. Because if you offend somebody and you don't mean to, don't worry. There are times that I mean to offend somebody, and I'm real good at it. But if I don't mean to, it all comes back to intentions. It affected them personally. And you have to be like, listen, it wasn't personal. It wasn't even directed at you. So let's just accept the fact that we see it differently and that I don't have anything about it. I have no qualms with it.
Yeah, and then it's like, I mean, I've been offended. Don't get me wrong. Like, everybody will probably, every time I talk, people are like, well, you don't ever get offended about anything. Yeah, I do get offended about things. I just don't take offense, right?
Right. That's a really good argument there. There's a difference between being offended and taking offense.
Yeah, I don't, I generally know that someone is not directing it towards me. And even when they are, again, I might get offended by what you say, but at the end of the day, I don't care, because at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt me. If you're going to come after me in my own, that's a different story, right? So
goes back to intention and malice.
Exactly. So
it's amazing how all these different, what we perceive are different conversations, are actually not a different conversation.
Yeah, it's same thing.
It all comes down to the same thing.
Yeah. And
my running joke of the month is, we're saying the same thing. And it's regardless of whether or not we are or not. You could say blue, I could say red, and I would say, we're saying the same.
Purple.
I got a good way to close this if you want at an hour here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Not really tonight. I mean, I was going to kind of talk about the whole Joe Manchin thing and stuff like that, but this was more comedy based, and I think I enjoyed it a lot, that it wasn't strictly on politics. We talked about it, but yeah.
That's why I call it skipping stones. When you can mention things, but even like I had a couple more things that deeper I wanted to say, but you'd have to let the stone go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in closing, I got a good thing for this week. What is one of the latest songs that you've recently heard that you enjoyed? That way somebody can do it. I have one and you have one. Just think back over the last 3, 4, 5 days a week. Last song you heard, and you're like, oh, no. It could be an old school. It could be a new one you heard. What's the first song that you can think back to that you're like, oh, I enjoyed that this week.
This week, probably Voodoo by Godsmack.
Oh, Godsmack, Voodoo. That was old school. Yeah, you did. You took it back about 20 years.
Yeah.
All right. Mine was a cover. So the first one. So you should listen to Voodoo by Godsmack. It's a great tune. I like them. Good band. And mine was a cover of Jar of Hearts, and it's from a group called Through Fire. So it gives you that power. It's a different song. If you don't know Jar of Hearts, it's by Christina Perri, maybe. There's somebody who sings it first, a great woman artist. If you haven't heard Jar of Hearts, listen to hers first. It's on the radio. You'll be like, I know this song. And then listen to the Through Fire version of it. And you're like, okay. And then to veg out after, listen to Voodoo. So you should probably do it that way, because Voodoo's got that nice little groove.
Yeah. That's when you're.
Look, that's in my head already. My body can't stop.
Oh God,
you can't stop it.
He's like a bobblehead.
He's just gonna have to stop it. He's gonna keep doing this all the time.
Actually, just to go into, I'll let you break your neck. I don't care.
Break your neck.
Yeah. I was listening, so I was watching a TikTok. Yes, I do watch TikTok here and there, guys. But
stop that.
Yeah. No, it was great because we're talking about music real quick. So this dude, it was a TikTok about like this dude goes into a studio and he's like, hey, this is for pop songs. And the dude's like a heavy metal guy. And he's like, I can do that. And he's like, well, we'll see. Why don't you give it a try? And he did, what does the fox say in metal?
Oh, that's one of my favorite covers.
And that is fantastic. Cover. Yeah, dude.
Well, it may not be the same one because I found like 10 of them. There's one of them that I found at the very, 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 very beginning. Mm-hmm. I love them all because it's a great song. But there's one I found. We're going to have to share that video.
You think What Does the Fox Say is a fantastic song?
No, the metal version that I found. My favorite version of the metal. Again, I'm very passionate about the very few things that I do in life, like music, movies, and
Sure.
And shit like that. So I dive into it a little bit more. And the way that they make up the song, there's the mad headbutt. You know the angry headbutt. You get mad and you just start like you just want to fight.
Oh yeah,
and you're just good. And you're like, ooh. Yeah. Okay. So if you can hit that, because I do a lot of driving and I have a Bose surround sound in my car, so I get a nice full just pressure, and if you could get me driving down the highway, and all of a sudden you just get me going, and I got cars to drive, I don't give a crap. These people, I don't give a crap who you are. I'm just like, I'll listen to you for the next week or two. If you can give me angry headbutting, just want to tear your head off. Come on. And it's not everybody thinks that kind of music is that screaming
right,
music.
Yeah,
it's not. Sometimes I could care less what the singer's doing, because behind the beat is the drums, the guitar, and the bass.
There's more to it.
Is making that. It's making the pendulum. It's that pendulum. It's that hammer that's swinging every time it hits you. Mm-hmm. You know, he's just in the background. Whoever or she is in the background.
And most of the time, there are people who can't sing. That's why I can't. So there when you. Geez, we could go on hours about this. Yeah. But when you get into like some of that heavy metal where they're always screaming, like there's no chorus, there's no nothing, they're just always screaming. You know, I can't stand that per se because it's just they can't sing, and that's the reason why they're doing it, right? I'm sure there's a couple one-offs that that's the way they prefer to do their music, right? But
you should bookmark this conversation right now, because there is probably more than 50% of the bands that sound like that are doing it properly, and it's called frying your voice.
Yes. No, I know.
The actual musical, like there are people that kill their voices. I was gonna say, look at how many albums they have, and that'll tell you if they're doing it right or not.
Yeah.
Because if they have a lot of albums, they're doing it right.
Yeah.
If they only have one or two, they blew their voice out.
Yes, I'm well.
Axl Rose.
Yeah. I'm well aware that a lot of people do frying. I know what it is.
The correct way, I mean. Meaning
yes.
That when they talk, they're fine.
Yeah.
David Draymond from Disturbed.
Right. Yeah, and Corey Taylor from Slipknot.
Corey Taylor. No, they are hurting their voice. Zero.
Right. So, but that's what I was gonna say is, but they typically so a lot of the people that you take a look at a lot of the musicians that are not on the mainstream, right? So we're not talking about mainstream. We're talking about a lot of stuff because I like listening to independent stuff.
Like regional artists, like people that are good for like the East Coast. They're B-rated artists,
right? Okay. So a lot of them do scream because they can't. They know how to fry, right?
Or they kind of know how to fry.
But they don't know how to sing. They don't know how to keep that tone, right? So and it's like you said, they end up killing their voice anyways because they're always doing it. But my point is I can't stand that kind of music, but sometimes I'll listen to it because of the beats, because of the bass, because of the drums, because of the guitar, and I'm not listening to them because honestly they're just making my ears bleed. You know, I am a heavy metal fan. Like, you know, I am a huge fan of Slipknot. I have been a huge fan of Slipknot for a long time.
I'm going to set up a post-podcast moment with you right here. But have you, do you know who Slaughter to Prevail is?
I have heard of them. I don't know who they are.
Okay. All right. Post-podcast moment. Give me 5 minutes of your time. Cool. All right.
Got it. But yeah, anyway, so to not get into it, screaming all the time, bad. Singing and screaming, good. I'll listen to you all day long. Anyways, but that's the music topic. We should bring that up some other time too.
Actually, let's do like maybe even next week. Let's because music is so broad. Let's go ahead and let's fine tune it. Let's fine tune it a little bit. Let's talk about either very specific artist or a very specific style. Let's break it down even more. We'll do that. We'll do a music podcast in the next couple of weeks, if not next week. Whatever.
I am very passionate about music. I like music. I might not be the best artist for music, but I do love music.
We have the opinions. You know what I mean? You know what we could do?
He has an idea.
Fat Al Productions.
Oh yeah,
Fat Al Productions.
We should bring him on. That would be fantastic. I'd love to have him on.
We'll do like a special. Like we could do like 2 hours, 3 hours. We could do a long one with him.
Yeah, especially with music, man. Yeah. So maybe next week you'll get to check us out with one of our good friends and very talented music artist, Fat Al Productions.
Fat Al, yes.
But anyways, I think that's where we'll take the show for here. As usual, you cut it. Now I have to stop. As usual, smack that subscribe button, hit the like, share this video, comment in this video, let us know, you know. You'll catch us next week. This one will be out when you're watching it. It will be Monday. You will love every minute of it. You will subscribe to us. You will share us. You will talk to us. You will be our friends.
And I will flex once for every new subscriber every week. So we're at 5 right now.
Do you want people to subscribe?
They'll like it. Believe me. It's funny.
Anyways, so that will be it for now, folks. As always, positivity
over negativity.
You all have a wonderful night.
We out.